Hello. I think we said that in simultaneous.
We did.
I like that.
There you
nice.
go.
We've spent too long together today.
Am I allowed in?
Come on in. Welcome
you
to
very
MTV Cribs Fish Shop Matt style.
Right.
Where do you want to start?
You
Upstairs?
lead me around.
Let's go upstairs.
Yes. Right.
Now, it might be easier if I close the blinds in here. I will shut the window.
No problem.
How bright is it behind me? Is it okay?
You are a shadow. Oh no.
Oh no, we've got a floating box. It's alright. I fixed
I didn't know that's what they do.
Oh, that was the wind. That was because the window was open. Anyway, that's fine. Do I look alright, or do you want the blind shut?
You can shut the blinds if you want. Do you want me to turn the light on? I think
Yeah, turn the light on. Let's see.
There you go.
It's just the fish look a little bit better normally, or the tanks look a little bit better than, with the lights off, or with
Okay.
the blind shut.
Lights off.
Yeah, is that right?
Yeah.
Cool.
You look fine.
Now we've got it sorted. So, what do you want to know?
Tell me about your tank.
So, these have gone through a little bit of a change recently, because I don't know what to do with this room. So this is my upstairs room. This is where I first started making YouTube content. So this was like the hardest thing, because this it's not a gimbal, is it? It's an arm. But this was how I used to film, so that I could actually get tanks in the shot.
Mm-hmm.
So it was really tricky. And this room's just about to go through a change, and I'm not too sure what that change is. I thought it was going to be breeding tanks. And now I'm a little bit like, get rid of all these three and maybe put like a 6-foot shallow tank right the way across this cabinet. So I don't know. I sort of keep flip-flopping in my mind as to what I'm doing. But obviously I tried to make educational content so that I can show people different styles of tanks and what they can do with different fish and things. So like the first tank on the left there is what is my cold water tank. So it's an unheated, very simple, you don't need fancy goldfish, you don't need big chunky fish. We've got some white cloud mountain minnows, we've got celestial pearl danios, we've got some baby platies. So it's just an unheated, temperate, very simple tank. Anubiuses, crypts, keep it simple. And I really like designing those tanks that are like, you can keep this instead of this, if that makes sense. Like, oh, you want a shrimp tank, but you don't want the difficulty of crystals? Well, just go for some cherries. So I quite like designing those tanks. So it might end up that I do more of those, like more display tanks rather than breeding tanks. But yeah, I keep flip-flopping. And then I keep getting invited to different projects and different things. And then I don't get to spend time in my fish room and I don't get to work on things. And then all of a sudden I've spent a week at the zoo building aquariums and I'm like, I need to get home. But yeah, I do like that. And then obviously talking about different tanks and different styles of tanks is the Haberstacks, which is these new planting towers that you plant up.
I've been following their page and obviously what you've done with the Haberstacks too, and it's a really unique way of planting your tank without having it being overcomplicated with even the nutrient layer in your substrate system.
Yeah.
It's all within the tower. So like the look of having the crypt sticking out of the sides, that's not something a fish keeper or anyone's mind's really used to. You're usually used to it being in the substrate layer. So having it higher up, it gives that texture a bit more different. Is that Blitz japonica at the top as well?
Yeah. It got infected with a bit of hair algae because I left the curtains open for a couple of days while I was away, and the hair algae just went whoosh. But yeah, I had a couple of pots, and I was like, do you know what, I'll give it a go. So in the top of the tower, I haven't got the lids for the tower, but that's the tower there. So in the top of the tower there's like a little tray. So I just filled it up with substrate, a couple of plant fertilizer tablets, and then put the Blixer in there. And so far, it's doing quite well.
It's such a unique look because, again, this is something like your mind's used to being down here and having it up there. So, yeah, it's doing really well. And then, these stem plants.
Yeah, so this is Lobelia, dwarf Lobelia, which is meant to be an aquarium plant, but it just went mental and grew straight out of the water. And then this was, you'll have to go to my original video because I can't remember the name of this little house plant, but that, because the tower's out of the water, I was able to plant house plants in the top. And they've obviously got their roots now down into the water down here. But yeah, it's a pretty cool way. And I like products that innovate and try to do something different and try to fix a problem for people. If you can help people succeed at fish keeping and plants, brilliant. Like, that's great. And that's why I'm so on board with the Haberstacks towers, because if you can make more people succeed at fish keeping, more people are going to keep fish, is my thought to it. So that's a bit of an innovative, a different tank. I'll swap areas with you now so you can get into the corner tank.
Okay, no problem.
And I'll talk you through it. Now this has got, well, it's now a bit of a mess, to be honest. So it was my breeding tank, or it was the startings of the breeding tank for my gold Vaitas. I want to say McMasterai. Maybe it was McMasterai. But anyway, they're a golden pair of dwarf cichlids that I'll show you. They're downstairs. Female started attacking the male about 3 to 4 weeks after they went in. So that was great. I was like, brilliant. Okay, we'll move the male out, let the female settle. So the male went downstairs. I went and swapped him at the shop for another male, thinking, let's try a different bloodline. And then put him into the tank downstairs. Female got a little bit of fungus, I think it was. Moved her downstairs into the quarantine tank to be with the male, treated her, and they have stayed down there forever since. So they're now in a quarantine tank downstairs because I can't catch them out because there's so many potted plants in there, which you'll see in a minute. So now in that tank there is rummy noses and silvertip tetras, which is from one of my friend's aquariums. He was moving his aquarium and he said, could I rescue the fish for a bit? So now I've got rummy noses and silvertips, very elderly ones, and about half a dozen female Endler's guppies.
Yeah, I can see them. Females are quite big.
Yeah, they're quite chunky. But there is also a few longfin bristle noses and stuff, so I've got to sort of sort that tank out and get the pair back up here. Now they seem to have settled and they're not trying to kick off at each other, and also the female has cleared up on that little nick or fungus that she had. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we're back on track now. But again, I don't know whether to do these as breeding projects or whether to do them as individual tanks. I'm not 100% sure. I keep changing my mind. But then in the corner tank, it's a very, very simple tank of Anubius's hair algae again, because I left the curtains open, but the hair algae is now slowly going away. And also a Betta Imbellis. So I can't remember the common name for the Imbellis, but he doesn't come out all too often. He's normally sort of lurking in the back, and because he's like a browny black colour and there's so much tannins in that water, it doesn't show up very well in there. I'm tempted. I've just got a new Betta tank. Oh, that's him there. He's just, you won't be able to see him. He's a shadow, but he is just up by the filterer, right at the back. Yeah, that's him.
I had the same issue with my cocaina. I had a piece of Corbo root with like a big hollow hole in the middle, and he'd like swivel round and hide in the hole, or like hide underneath, and just like they'll pop the head out occasionally when you put food in, and straight away just go back to being reclusive again.
That is the problem with them. And I love the wild bettas. I think they're much hardier than the sort of tank bred stuff and things. I think they are better, but it is trickier because you don't get that flamboyant colour and that sort of real show-off sort of fish. So, but I do find them hardier. I do find like a lot of the aliens and a lot of the like wild colorations way tougher than the tank bred strains.
Yeah, it's just a genetic gene pool over time, isn't it?
That's it. And there's my little group of rosy loaches in there actually that you can see a little bit easier. So there's male and female rosy loaches that are kicking about around in there. And they're a really lovely little fish. I think eventually I want to do, because they're from the same lake as, oh crikey, I'm going to have to remember now, Celestial Pearl Danios. There's about 3 or 4 fish that are from a similar lake.
Myanmar?
Yeah, it's essentially the same lake has got 3 or 4 or maybe 5 really cool little nano fish from it. Mm-hmm. And so it'd be quite cool to do like a biotope inspired, like, you know, rosy loaches. I'm sure it's Celestial Pearl Danios. And then I think there's a Danio species that's from there as well. But again, my brain's too full of fish keeping stuff to keep all of that information in it at once. So I'd have to look it up. But yeah, it'd be quite a cool little tank to do that, I think. That'd be quite nice.
Yeah.
And then this, obviously everything's a work in progress. So there's always lights and camera stuff and food and stuff kicking around. But this is our Anubius barb tank that has been running now for quite some time. And there's a little tinge of green in the water because the barbs being barbs were a little bit nippy the other week. And I thought, you know what, I'm just going to do a water change and pop a little bit of treatment in there to make sure that any fin scrapes or any little digs are going to heal up nicely. So it's got a slight tinge of green to the water, but it's just better to be safe than sorry, really.
Well, that's a stunning male cherry barb.
Yeah, he's lovely, isn't he?
The colours on him.
Yeah, so we've got cherry barbs, males and females in here. We've got golden barbs in here. Checkered barbs somewhere down in the bottom. They normally lurk in amongst the plants a lot more. So there's a little female checker barb there, and we've got some males in there. And some neon dwarf rainbows.
Yeah.
So it's a nice little community tank. And the lighting on this, so all of the plants are Anubius a couple of Bucephalandra, and then some African fern up in the top that you might be able to see.
Bulbitis?
Bulbitis, that's it, yeah. So this Anubias needs a trim, so ignore the brown leaf on that one. But the cool thing is with this tank, it only has lighting for about 2 to 3 hours a day at the moment.
Oh, wow.
And it's a double bar light. So it's double bar, but I only run the front bar and only for about 2 or 3 hours a day. And that is how the tank looks with just that amount of lighting. I've got a tank that I was trialling downstairs with no lighting at all, and it just used to have ambient daylight, and all the crypts and the Anubias were the cleanest Anubias I've ever seen. So this was the sort of thought with this one, was like, actually we say we need our lights on for 8, 9, 10 hours a day, but actually Anubias, these could probably do with a slight bit more, I think. But when you look at how clean and how little hair algae and little algae there is in here,
it's pristine.
Yeah, it's really good. If I trimmed off a few of those leaves, but you're catching me at a time that I've just come off of 2 weeks with like flu. So I've been in bed for like a week, and then I've been recovering for a week. So you're seeing these tanks probably at their worst, to be honest. They've had cleans and they've had water changes, but I've definitely not been as particular as I normally am with them. But yeah, the Anubias with actually less lighting works way, way better than having tons and tons of lighting. So when you're looking at these tanks, I think that's, people have to look at it and go, actually, maybe I can ramp it back a lot to make sure that I've got my tank, running on a little bit less algae and things. But algae's algae. I don't mind it. It's just, if you can get away with getting rid of it, it is better. But yeah, I do love this tank. There is snow white bristlenoses in there as well that have bred a few times.
Did spot one.
Yeah, but they keep disappearing, and they're like in amongst. But yeah, they have bred a few times in here. I've accidentally disturbed the first spawning underneath this piece of wood here. And they were like, oh my word, and there was like 100 babies under there. So that was quite cool. But yeah, I'll try and catch the snow whites out. That could be a cool breeding project because they're not a cheap bristlenose. So maybe that's a future one, but we'll see. I've just got to make my mind up, really.
Great stuff. Well, we'll move on to downstairs now.
Do you want to see downstairs? Let's go.
Yes, please. Hello, you. You being a safety hazard to the build?
Yes, that's it. She's found a puddle of sun on the landing, so yeah. You staying there? Yeah, go on then. Downstairs. So this is the newest project in the middle of the house, which is the biggest tank that we've done in the house, actually, which is an Awazi Highline 600. So it's 580-ish litres. And it's like one of the most premium aquariums you can get. They are so, so nice, like all chrome trim. I won't lift up the lid, but the lid's got poppers on it. So you pop it, and then they just push the lid up, and then the whole lid lifts up in one go.
So satisfying.
Yeah, the lights are really clever as well, because the lights do cloud cover.
Yeah.
But it's individual tiles of lights, but it's in a bar, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. So as it turns off, it dims and turns off and dims and turns off. So you end up with this like rolling cloud cover. So yeah, I think it's just going to be a massive community tank, to be honest. I think it's going to be like all singing, all dancing, big community tank of just loads of different fish, tetras and barbs and rasboras and rainbow fish and catfish. And I think I'll do like polls on my channel and be like, right, I want to go and get a rainbow fish. Let's have everyone's vote on what species of rainbow fish you want me to track down for it. And I think it will be a really cool project. And then it's just going to be these two big bits of wood. I've still got an angle one because I feel like they're too the same way at the moment.
Yeah, too flush.
But I don't know, nature is nature, isn't it? It happens and it would fall, and just what it be is be. But I'll see. I might try and angle one a little bit more, so we've got two different angles. And then it's just going to be loads of river cobbles, sandy area in that sort of section down to here, probably a sandy area in this section here, and then I can't decide whether planting at the back or another sandy area. I quite like the idea of all that being the plant, and then this being a big open space for like rainbows and denison barbs to like swim around in, and then some catfish and cichlids to go in amongst the caves and the wood. I really like this idea. I really like it. But it's just such a clean, nice aquarium. I'm really excited to get it running. I'm just itching. But you got to film it, so you got to do like step by step and step by step. And instead of it taking an hour for me to just throw all the wood in, get all the rocks in, you've got to get the camera angles right. So it takes so much longer when you're filming something, and you've got to think about the process of how you're going to release it on YouTube. So yeah, this would have been set up by now. I'd have had fish in it by now if I wasn't recording for YouTube. But we'll get there. It will get there. It's actually nice to live with it because I've looked at the wood and I'm like, oh yeah, I could do with moving that and taking your time over it. YouTube doesn't cause a lot of problems, but it makes you slower. Like you'll know, it makes you slower in making video or making aquariums. But actually, I've looked at it a different way, and I'm now like, oh, actually, it's quite nice to get the hardscape done and then think, right, it's going to be 2 or 3 days before I can record the next step of that. And you sort of sit and you look at the hardscape and you're like, oh no, actually I could move that, or it could do with maybe different rock or different sand. So I quite like that. It gives you a bit more time, but it was also annoying because you've got to get it done. But yeah, it's going to be a cool project. It's going to be a cool project. I'm just looking forward to getting fish in there, to be honest.
I just want to do this one satisfying thing.
Oh yeah, push it.
Do you just put...
Yep.
There you go.
Even better than what you thought.
Wow.
That's my spice rack.
Oh, it's so satisfying, honestly.
And that's the cool thing is Awazi have just thought of, like, you know, you can't really see because I've got all my wiring, but they've siliconed all the edges of the cabinet in. So if you spill water in the filtration side of the cabinet, it's all sealed in, so it won't get into the woodwork. And then, like, the filter has a shelf that it comes out on, so you can pull your filter out and maintain it and then just slide it back in. It's what I liked about it, and that's why I wanted it as the main feature in my house. It's just everything has been thought about, and also the chrome goes with my new Chrome 100k subscriber plaque.
Perfect place.
This is the chrome, and the chrome.
Hang a little spotlight there. You've even got the hook up there.
Yeah, that was for my old plant that used to hang down over the top of the tank and grow in. But yeah, definitely we could put a spotlight on it. Yeah, it'd look nice, that. Yeah, I'm quite excited by that. Let me show you the other tanks.
Wait, we've missed one.
Oh, my little one. Yeah, so my little one. This is just my little plastic plant tank. So I set this up to show people that, I guess, people with, like, disabilities is a big one, and people can't maintain plants. Like, there was a lot of wheelchair users in the comment section of that video saying how great it was because they can't always spend the time and they haven't always got the maneuverability to do plants. And anyone with a disability, I think that will help them. So plastic plants, this has been the same for, I don't know how long this tank's been set up now, maybe 6 months. And I've hardly touched it. You know, little water change, turn the lights on and off, feed the fish. It has gone through a change recently, so I took all the fish out and we've got now 2 baby, and they've disappeared.
I've seen them earlier.
Yeah, 2 baby earth-eating cichlids, which are red hump earth-eaters. So they live in there normally. Here they come. Yeah, there you go. So yeah, they've just been living in there for the last couple of months because I've just been growing them up. Once they get to a decent size, then I'll move them out into one of the tanks that I'll show you in a minute. And yeah, it did have, what did it have in there? Rainbow fish that are now upstairs in the big tank. So yeah, it's a cool tank, but I just wanted to show people that you don't have to be all singing or dancing. You don't need to spend thousands of pounds on plants and feed and fertiliser, and you don't need to worry about trimming stuff. You know, 30, 40 quid's worth of plastic plants, a piece of wood, a couple bits of rock, and you can have a really nice aquascape, inverted commas, that doesn't take you any maintenance. Which, you know, you imagine that with half a dozen guppies in or half a dozen platies in. Lovely little tank just for someone to look after if you're away at work, or, you know, it just makes it easier. So I did get a lot of flack for that video though.
Yeah, using plastic plants.
Yeah. It was guppies in there at first, so I put guppies in there. I put like a little trio of random guppies that I had in another tank, and I put them in there, and there was a lot of comments about like RIP fish and like all of this. And I'm like, you realise these guppies with these flamboyant tails don't come from like a fully planted, beautiful river. They are coming out of probably a pond in Southeast Asia where they've been bred and they're being brought over. It's not like, I think that's a really nice home for them, to be honest. I think they really liked it. They were really good in there.
I wouldn't think of that as being an evil place to put guppies.
But I did. Plastic plants did bring a lot of flack to my channel.
How dare you?
Absolutely. How dare I'm going to do a big one. I'm going to do that one full of plastic plants.
Yeah, go on then.
It'd be £1,000 worth of plastic. It would probably cost more in plastic plants than it would the tank, I expect.
Make it luminescent, fluorescent pink plants.
Big submarine and a shipwreck and something else at that end.
Yeah, just get rid of the wood, get rid of the rocks. We don't need that anymore.
Yeah, that's it. Let me show you the other tanks. Excuse my garden, we are currently in building mode, but we're getting there.
No problem.
So, I did have this tank set up as well, which I was going to move into the garage, and then I didn't move it into the garage, and so it sort of stayed here half-scaped with some ideas. So we're getting around to that one at some point. Excuse the dog towels, but these are our red and greenscapes. So the Salvinia has taken over the greenscape a little bit too much now, which has been a bit mental, but I just catch it out and sort of put it into other tanks and stuff. My festive cichlids quite like eating it, to be fair. But we've got Ember Tetras in this tank. And then they're not as active in the mornings, but we've got Cabotii, or the neon green Rasboras. You can see a couple of them out at the moment.
They are lovely, but they are quite a shy species.
Yeah, they're not as confident as I thought they'd be. Like the Ember Tetras are just like, yeah, whatever, we don't care.
I see what you've done as well, the reverse colours, because the Embers are like a reddy orange, and then on the other side you've got the green with the red. Complementary colours.
I just thought it was a little bit different. So this tank had loads of problems with it when it was first done. The Dragonstone actually caused a major amount of hair algae.
Oh, wow.
I washed it out, but because there's so much clay and soil and stuff in the Dragonstone, it was feeding the hair algae like there was no tomorrow. So I just had, it wasn't blackbeard, it was like stringy blanket weed algae, and I was constantly getting it out, even with the Rotala, floating plants, trying to zap up the nutrients, just wasn't working. And it's only in the last maybe month or so, maybe month or two, that I've actually got on top of it. And now it's like a clean tank. So I was going to strip these down, but now the plan is actually to drain them down, pick them up and move them into the garage at some point. But again, I sort of will get around to it at some point when they're happy there. So why move them, you know? My wife does want her house back a little bit though. So, you know, YouTube has taken over the house and fish tanks have taken over the house a little bit too much at the moment. So, but that's a good thing. Hello, Rimmer. How are you? Ooh, I don't know if to film him or not because he's being a bit funny. He's being really funny, isn't he?
He's not looking the best.
No, he's just my elderly alien better, but he's just not. Maybe we'll skip over him for the minute. Or maybe, can you go to the back? Go to the back. Then Adam can cut this bit out. Don't bite me. Go to the back. Go under the Rickia. And go to the back of the tank. Look, go. Hide. And we can discuss you without you being on camera. How does that sound? He's gone. Happy with that?
Yeah.
Happy to cut? So this is... Oh, he's back out again, look. So this is our elderly... do you know what? It's part of it, isn't it? It's part of it. This is our elderly alien betta. Now, I was not going to show him, but unfortunately, I've had him for a fair few years now, and I think he's coming to the end of his time. He was actually one of the first fish on the channel, which is like, 2.5, 3 years ago now, and I bought him at a decent size from a customer who had already had him for a while. So I think he must be about 3 or 4 years old now. So he's just still feeding, but just not swimming like he used to. But his tank has just got tons of Rickia in it. So tons and tons of this floating Rickia, which I harvest out and give away every now and again. And then some Crips and some Bucephalanda in the bottom. But this tank, again, the lighting on it is just a very simple LED that I don't turn on very often. And yeah, he just lives his years in there. But I keep wanting to try and do something for him. But what can you do for an elderly betta, bless him? Yeah. And then this tank's got nothing in it other than some bulbs. There's some Nymphea bulbs, but you can't really see them that well.
Lotus,
yeah, and some Crinum, some of the crinkled leaf.
I haven't seen that.
Onion plant.
Yeah, octopus plant as well.
That's it. Yeah. So I was going to move them into the big tank when I do the big tank, but yeah, I've just got to see what style that big tank takes on yet. We'll see. And then in here, this is the problem with running YouTube from your house, is you end up with stuff everywhere. We're into the fish room. Now, a couple of the plants have disappeared because the shelf... Yeah. I was just going to say, I'm sure there was another peace lily there this morning.
I know I'm from Liverpool, but I haven't taken anything.
Yeah, I know. I thought you just bundled it into your bag. But yeah, so this is the tropical pond that we've done. We have got problems at the moment because we have been suffering with fairly standard power cuts recently. And it has messed around with all the lighting timers on my tanks and pond. So it's currently that I've got like some lights that are working and some lights that are not. And then this morning at like 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock, we had another power cut that messed with all the lighting again. So I'm currently, there's normally 3 lights working on this. Currently there's only 1, but just got to turn it all off, reset it, and I'll go through it again. But yeah, rolling power cuts in lots of fish tanks isn't very much fun. But yeah, it's a cool tank. We've got the baby, so that baby that's in the plastic plant tank is actually one of the babies from the adult earth eaters that are in the back of here that you can sort of see swimming about. They do come out every now and again. There they all are. And we've also got a group of wild style angels, so they're Rio Atea. And then there's also my 2 festive cichlids that are in here as well.
I think I've just seen.
Yeah, one just flew across the tank at 1,000,000 miles an hour then. So yeah, it's mostly just Central American, earth eaters and cichlids. I've got plans to maybe put some tetras into here.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I just keep flip-flopping into what I want to do. I also want to do a living wall up here. But again, it's just projects and time and effort and money, and you just got to work out what you want to do and when. So these are the two other plants that are actually from the back of there, but I was watering them. So you're seeing it as it happens. This is how my fish room looks on a regular basis, because it's just a work in progress all the time. You're constantly moving things and planting things up. So this was the tank that was where the 600 was. So this is was my Amazonian blackwater. We had the pair of Ivanacara. We got the gold striped Corydoras, or they're probably not Corydoras now. They're Gastra something, or Ostra something.
They're always going to be Corys.
I'm going to go with Corydoras forever. But they're probably not a Cory now. But yeah, this is a cool tank. I rescued the Congo tetras from a friend of mine who was shutting down his aquarium. So I've got now a really nice group of Congo tetras. But they weren't really meant for here, to be honest. And then if you look up into here, we've got our festive cichlids. And you might be able to see there's a group of babies. There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
So we've got little baby festive cichlids. They've had 5 or 6 spawns now. And I've not actually saved any of the babies yet, because I've just sort of been see what you do. They get them to just past that stage that you see there, and then they normally vanish. So the temptation is actually to clear this tank out, pretty much just have the festives in there, let the festives breed a couple of times, grow some babies up, take the babies back to the shop, do that as a little project, and then maybe we'll convert it again. But I think let the festives have 1 or 2 broods, I think would be nice, so that, Tropiquaria Zoo don't have a lot of money, and I work regularly with them, so taking a group of babies that they don't have to pay anything for and be able to populate one of their freshwater tanks is quite a nice thing. So I'll probably end up doing that at some point, but yeah, eventually. But I want the Ivanacara to breed, but I think I've got 2 boys. They were a pair, supposedly, and one of my friends had them in a tank before me, but they just show no signs of... They're not overly aggressive with each other, but they're not overly friendly with each other. So no. I've got to work out what to do there. They're not cheap fish, and I don't really want to add another 1 or 2 in case they fight and stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're happy, but they're just not breeding, which is annoying. Got a little betta tank. So this is my little marbled betta that I've probably had a year and a bit now, I think, because he was in the lily tank inside for a while, and then when I first moved out here, I moved him out here with me. So we just done a really super simple betta aquarium with botanicals and bogwood and things like that. So that's quite a nice one, and he's a cute little chap. He had a bit of a funny 5 minutes a couple of weeks ago, and he went off his food for 3 or 4 days. Don't know what happened. Fed him some frozen brine shrimp, and then he got back on his food, and now he's back on pellets again. So I don't know what he was quite thinking for a few days, but bettas being bettas, there's never an answer to what they're thinking or what they're doing, to be honest. So,
always the dramatic ones.
They are. They just I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine. I'm not fine. Don't look at me. And then I'm fine again. It's okay. So, and then obviously working with YouTube, we've got lighting rigs everywhere and stuff everywhere that we're working with, and wheels that help us move our tanks, and quarantine tanks set up for different fish. It's just a constant, movement in what's going on. But one of our newest tanks is our little saltwater. So this is my first foray back into saltwater keeping, which is the first time in probably, crikey, maybe 8-9 years, I think, since keeping saltwater. Mm-hmm. Nothing much in here at the moment other than some hermit crabs and a snail. But we've just got more rock to add to it. We're
wondering where the hermits are.
Do you know what? Honestly, hang on, I can turn the light on to white. Now, I haven't cleaned this tank yet because I've been letting the algae grow so that the snails and stuff have food. Where's my lighting button gone? Somewhere down there. So it is a bit dirty at the moment, but that's just because I've been leaving it so that the crabs and the snails have some food to feed off of, and also it just means that all the microfauna and stuff is starting to grow and be alive. But yeah, the hermit crabs, there's a round shell I can see at the back.
Yeah.
But they blend in so well, and I'll chuck a couple of pellets in, and they come out, grab a pellet, disappear back into the rockwork. But I've just got a load more rockwork, so we can bring the rockwork out into the aquarium a little bit. And yeah, the next step of that will be giving it a good clean, a little water change, putting some new rock in this week. And then my first coral shipment arrives this week or next week. Might be the end of this week. I'll have to have a look at the dates. But the next video for that, adding corals, adding probably some little shrimp, adding some shrimp, some corals. Yeah, doing a water change and then adding more rock. So that's like the episode 2 of the marine tank build, I suppose, as you would say. I've got lots more tanks to do on this rack. Still got to think about what I want to do and what I want to change, but I've had no fish that have really jumped out at me recently. So in here, and I might need to send you some B-roll if anyone wants to see him, but is my black ghost knife fish. But because it's daytime and he's nocturnal, he doesn't come out very much. So yeah,
he's being a ghost.
Yeah, he is being a ghost knife fish, true fashion. He comes out for feeding every now and again, but I've not actually seen him today. So I reckon he had a good feed yesterday, and he's just gone and like sat in a pot somewhere, or even in amongst this rockwork. But yeah, it's just, again, he's a little oddball at the moment. He will get to about that sort of size fully grown. So he will have to move from this tank. But I wanted to make sure he was feeding and eating and growing and just being all right before I dump him into somewhere like the tropical pond with all the cichlids, because they will outcompete him for food if I've not got him like used to me, essentially. So yeah, it's cool, but I'm just waiting for him to grow up and get bigger, really, which is annoying. But he'll get there. But I've got to work out what I need to do with all these other tanks. Shrimp breeding and... I want some shell dwellers. That's what that one's for. I want some shell dwellers.
That'll look really nice.
I think that'll be really cool.
You're going to have the fake plants in there too?
I don't know yet. I might swap them with Anubias. The problem is every shell dweller tank that I've ever seen always gets a little bit mucky because you don't often have much of a cleanup crew in with them. And so it ends up a bit mucky and a bit dirty and a bit algified. So
seeing the odd bristle nose thrown in there, but
that's it. It just doesn't. Yeah. But then with my Anubias upstairs that I only have 2 hours lighting on, if I do that in there, maybe that's the thing. Maybe because shell dweller tanks don't have fast growing plants and don't have a cleanup crew, maybe you need to run it with less lighting in it. So maybe I'll try that. We'll see how that goes. And then the last tank is behind you, which you can see all the fish that are going into the 600 litre first off. So we've got black phantoms, lemon tetra, glow light tetra, and what were meant to be whitefin bentosi tetra, but the white fins have a lot of black in the fins. Like this one here is like proper like a black dot. And I wonder if you can...
Strange, yeah.
Yeah, I know that whitefin bentosis can have a little bit of black in them, but not... I didn't think it was that much.
No.
But then rosy tetras maybe have been crossbred into them. Like this male here looks very much like a rosy tetra with his... So maybe they're a crossbreed. I don't really know. So I'm just keeping an eye on them. But they look pretty, you know. There's our female golden... I'll get in trouble because I can't remember if it's Vaita or McMaster. They look very similar. That's our female. Oh, and here's our male. Just coming in amongst the plants. There he goes.
Looks like McMaster.
Yeah. So, they'll be in here until I take all these plants out to put them into that tank. And then I'll probably move them back upstairs. And there is a group of keyholes in here as well that haven't come out today. But the keyholes will be going into the 600, I think. I think that'll be cool. But I'm going to do it, like I say, stage by stage. I want to cover, 1 week I'll do Southeast Asia and Australasia. Next week I'll maybe do like some African fish going in there. Then some more South American fish. And I'll try and make it like a big community tank, but whilst picking fish from all the different continents that are all cross-compatible. I'm not going to go putting any like big hard water cichlids in there. But yeah, everything that's soft water. Maybe some like coolie loaches at some point to go in with some cories, I think. Yeah, it's going to be a cool project. I'm really looking forward to getting that one finished.
Great. Yeah. Well, we'll move on to our final bit of the video.
Yeah.
You want to head over to there now? Right, so we're on to the final tank now. So this is your corner tank with your Monstera going crazy in there.
That's it, yeah. It has gone a little bit mental. I've just let it go like a jungle, to be honest. I've just whatever grew, and whatever didn't. And there's pothos mixed in, and peace lilies, and bits and pieces. I did rob a few plants off the top the other week to put into another tank, because I was like, oh, there. I didn't want it so much out the top, so I started taking a few plants out. But yeah, it's just a simple group of little croaking gouramis in here. They've got their own little hierarchy now, so there's some smaller ones and some bigger ones. Group of copper harlequins, or whatever you want to call them. I've known there's a few names for them, common names.
Lamb chop or something.
Yeah,
like that,
that's it. And then there's a group of coolie loach that do live in here as well, and they're out and about normally, but they're a little bit more reclusive. But I wanted to do something different with this one, with like the half and half, and having the tree stumps or the cork bark coming out the water to try and grow plants on. I just wanted to try it, something a little bit different. But the roots have gone a bit mental on the Monstera now, so I keep thinking I might need to trim them back soon. But I think this tank is quite old now. The Aquascape's probably maybe a year old or so.
I remember that. Remember you building it? Yeah, it's definitely been a good while.
It's
now
definitely had a
since
few
you put it together.
updates, because I added the coolie loaches in one of the updates, and I think I added some rice fish, but I had to pull them out because they were being really aggressive, so I had to pull them out. But yeah, I think it's maybe time for a rescape on this one soon. But it fits, and my whole TV unit's sort of built around this tank, so I can't really get rid of the tank.
You're going to have to start pulling things out and then like try and work around it.
That's it. I'm thinking an African tank in this one now. I think this would be a 300 litre like Malawi Mabuna rock dweller tank would be quite cool in here.
That'd be cool.
Just some big bits of ocean rock in the back built up, and then a load of like yellow labs or cobalt blues or something simple. The half and half is good, but as a random thing for YouTubing and filming, it's an absolute nightmare, because when you've got your camera here filming under the water, you get the glare of the lighting. Whereas if you filled it up to the top, the lighting is then dispersed through the water and you don't get any glare on your camera lens. But yeah, this tank has been an absolute pig to film updates on, because you put your camera here and that light is straight in the lens, and you just can't film it. So paludariums, I think I would try a different style of lighting maybe next time, but I think you're going to get that problem no matter what. Maybe a big pendant hanging from the top, but no, the next one I think filled to the top, Malawi tank, and see how that goes. But I've got lots of projects, so lots of projects, not enough time. We'll see how it goes.
I'm sure everyone's going to be up to date with it for sure. But yeah, thank you so much for having me around.
No, cheers, man.
Appreciate you letting me film the video today.
Anytime at all.
Of course, there will be a interview coming out soon with Matt too, and a shop tour if you haven't seen that already. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, everyone. Take care. Make sure to subscribe and also check out Matt's channel if you haven't already.
Thanks, man.
Take care. See you later.